cheers to anyone who's listening. This is Travis Smith at WithoutWire. You're listening to In Search of Inventory Truth. I'm joined today by Marketing Hire of the Quarter, Matt Demboski.
It was Marketing Hire of the Year last episode, so I'm good to see that we're revising.
We're
our
always
goals.
lgoing for setting right expectations.
Yeah.
Let's not give it all away yet.
Let's hope it's better than the fortnight by next time we do the podcast.
So today we're going to continue our series known as In Search of Inventory Truth, of course, and we're talking about Microsoft's newest developments in fulfillment, and that's called Intelligent Order Management.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to see how your fulfillment is going to change, but is it for the better?
Well, we want to pair it with inventory platform, and that's really what this is all about. We're going to help change how we see fulfillment, and for the better, hopefully. We're going to be talking about some quick questions from viewers last week that we had received, and have some fun with Matt's segment of the week, of course. Matt, take it away. What do we got?
Oh, I've been patiently waiting for the next segment. So I am a huge fan of trivia, so I figured I'd throw some of that your way today.
I am actually a pretty good player in trivia when it comes to, just about every topic except for women's clothing.
Yeah, that's a tough one, and you're going to love our third question today then. It deals with cosmetics.
Awesome.
But we're talking e-commerce, and we're talking fulfillment. So what I wanted to get to was some of the records that have been set in e-commerce, and see how close you can get to guessing what the fulfillment needs were.
Let's see what we got.
We're talking Apple. The iPhone 5 outdid the iPhone 4 in pre-launch sales by 20x.
Okay.
iPhone 5. In the first hour, how many pre-sales do you think happened?
Well, I know Microsoft is not Apple, and so I would assume Apple didn't have as many problems with orders. I'm just kidding about that, Microsoft.
We have fun.
But Apple is scalable. I know they've had huge launches before. I know that I also am a user of an Apple device, so I know what it's like to pre-order, and the experience is great. I'm going to have to say no scalability issues happened at that point. I'm going to say 2,467,270.25.
Where are we getting 0.25?
Well, statistically, 0.25 is a quarter of one. And so if you were to take the measurement right at the middle of somebody actually putting in the order, you might just get the very beginning of the order.
So they got their address. They didn't get the billing. Okay. Yeah, 0.25.
Well, I don't know. Okay, round it up.
You're a little off.
Okay.
By about 2,500,000.
Really?
Yeah, they did great on this one. It was 20x compared to their previous launch in pre-sales.
Oh, that's great.
And they did 13,888 in that first hour of that day. Yeah.
Oh, that's impressive. And so, it's testament to how many people are using mobile devices these days, and how it's such an important part of any inventory strategy, and very cool.
Yeah. All right. So we're moving a little outside the comfort zone, and let's get into some fashion and some music. You're familiar with Kanye West?
Yeah, I am. Actually, ran for president. I know he had ran some ads about how he's going to help America, and fortunately, it didn't resonate.
It didn't, but what definitely did resonate was his collab with Adidas. And I know people are saying, "Hey, why are you saying Adidas so weird?" That's how they pronounce it in Europe, and that's where they're from. So
nice. Okay.
Adidas.
So cool looking shoes, I have to say. I mean, I wouldn't mind wearing a pair, and I know my kids would probably come to me and say, "I'd like these, but I'm not sure they're affordable or not." So what's the?
Not even close to affordable now.
Not even close to affordable.
This is the 350, one of his biggest launches, and these go for about $900 for mint ones. Now. So the resale value is insane. But Kim came out and talked about the launches that Kanye's been doing, and they both work on it. But she said they release 40,000 shoes per drop each time they do a new shoe. How quickly do you think, on average, those drops sell out?
40,000 shoes dropping down and being made available. I'm going to say, depending on the time zone you're in, this number could be different, because again, if we're capturing a specific time frame, no, I'm kidding about all that. It makes no sense.
Yeah, of course.
But I will say, I would say probably took them 20 months.
20 months. A little bit off on
A
that
little bit
one.
off?
The average drop of new Yeezys, they sell out in 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
12 minutes.
Well,
40,000 shoes.
they must have a really good fulfillment system or order taking system, and hopefully they would be the type of customer that would be willing to send me some shoes for free on accident. But
Definitely. Kanye, if you're listening,
yeah,
we'd love a pair.
sure.
And I did say we were going to do 3, and the third one was going to be a little outside of the comfort zone.
Mhm.
We're talking cosmetics now, and
Ah,
there's a lot going on in the
Mhm.
YouTube community and in the beauty community.
yes.
And one of the biggest players is Jeffree Star, and he is friends with former YouTube star Shane Dawson.
Hmm,
They collaborated on what's called the Conspiracy Palette. It's an eyeshadow palette
cool.
made by Jeffree's brand, so he made pretty good money off this one. But they had 500,000 that they sold on their website.
Really?
And then they also sold through the Morphe store online,
Okay.
both through Shopify, but that was 1 million pallets. How long do you think it took for those to sell out?
Well, cosmetics is something that I'm not that familiar with, although I have tried on makeup before once in my life.
Yeah,
and
we're
there was
getting a
some
makeup
photos taken that some
person for
people
this
probably have.
podcast.
Uh,
Yeah,
But no, seriously, cosmetics has got to be very hot these days, especially with people sitting around and spending any excess money that they might have gotten in from government assistance or whatever we call that.
sure.
And so, I'd have to say probably pretty quickly. And the trend in this whole session that we've been working on is things are moving a lot quicker than I've been anticipating
Mhm.
in terms of sales. So I'm going to go with it took them 5 hours,
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
It was
So I'm
30
off
minutes.
every time.
They actually crashed Shopify.
Wow.
Yeah.
I actually know a guy that works at Shopify, but I'm not going to mention his name right now.
No, and I'm sure that was not a great day for him either.
No, probably not.
But either way, yeah, you're right. I mean, when I looked up these facts, I was on the same page. It doesn't sound like things should be able to sell that quickly, but that's the way things are going.
Yeah, and when you talk about things like this happening, it's so interesting because it's really on topic with what we're talking about today. Today, the whole concept of what we're bringing to the table is a discussion on this intelligent order management system, and IOM is the Microsoft term now, which is really geared towards massive amount of order flow. If you're a large organization and suddenly Kanye West starts selling, his shoes, and you don't anticipate that huge demand spike, you're going to be left in trouble, without being able to basically live up to your promises with customer ship dates. So, that's very timely with what we're talking about today.
Definitely. And just in time, I think our next topic, one of the hottest ones we got, is our viewer questions. So viewers
Yes.
like you submit questions each week, and our favorites, well, Travis's favorites and mine, maybe leaning towards his, they get picked and they get read live on air. And always feel free to email, call, text, like, subscribe, whatever way you want to get in contact with us. We'll be sure to answer your questions.
Yeah. My favorite is in person coming to my doorsteps at my
Yeah,
house.
he loves
if you
that.
if you want to come to my house and knock on the door any time of the day,
Mhm.
night or day, look for the vehicle out in front of the house, and you'll see the power of the scan,
Mhm.
and you'll know it's the right place. You just come up and ask questions. I love to ask my wife to get up and help answer the door and at least screen the calls.
Yeah, that's how I got this job.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Anyways,
Yeah,
so are you ready to get started?
let's do it.
So the first question we have this week comes from a viewer, and they are asking, we're growing, and we're having trouble maintaining efficiency in our pick, pack, and ship processes.
Mhm.
What are some optimizations that can help us?
Well, obviously, maintaining efficiency, the word itself kind of makes me think that they're probably hitting some strides during some of their periods of time. And it sounds like maybe it could be related, if it is related to influx of different order types. For example, you mentioned online orders, and we talk about bulk orders, which are more related to B2B, where you're fulfilling maybe to larger customer accounts. Those two mix almost like water and vinegar. They don't really always go well together. And so when you've got a small piece pick request coming through, you got a bunch of those happening. You're trying to scale it up at the same time. You're trying to focus your process around, larger orders. The two don't go together well. And so with AI and machine learning, that type of thing, which we're going to talk about today on the IOM side, the intelligent order management side, we're going to give you more information on that. That's a great tool to look at for dealing with those dynamic changes that happen in those areas.
Sure. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
If we're going to move on, the next question we have from a listener is, we are government contractors whose operations have very strict protocols.
Right.
What kind of security features does the inventory platform have?
Well, security is obviously a must-have for anybody who's dealing in the big world of inventory platform. Typically in warehouse, in fact, when we got started, security was more of a secondary thought. As long as the people can pick the orders and get them out the door, security wasn't as big of an issue because you were sort of confined to the four walls of traffic, internet traffic and so on. Today, that's not the case. You've got temp workers, you've got people that are coming into the environment and transacting in a system that's could be similar to like point of sale. You got somebody who just starts in a new job doing point of sale. You're giving them the keys to the kingdom, essentially. Those are all things that have to be dealt with in a way that's fast, does not take a lot of IT overhead, and is secure. So it's got to really meet all those criteria. And for us, Microsoft Azure AD is a great tool and a great way to do that. And also encrypting all messaging that goes on between the backend system and any device or computer system. Very important. So I definitely would say look at that Azure Active Directory capability as a great foundation to build on.
Awesome. And that transitions really well, actually, into our third question. Another member of our audience asked, our organization, with 350 or so employees, has a lot of temp hires and field service operations. They're thinking about what kind of downtime can they experience when they're training in for the inventory platform.
Yeah, that's a great question. Everyone has a different level of knowledge of just standard mobile technology. Obviously, people that have been in the workforce for longer typically need a little more training than those that are coming in with a common knowledge of how to play with their phone and do social media. So
Right.
I mean, you're dealing with two different groups, and I think that's the important piece. Is you don't want anyone left behind. No picker left behind, I think is a common phrase that we will start using more and more.
Yeah. So if how do you know if people are getting left behind?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. So with the system, everything that happens is transacted and recorded in terms of audit trail. So when we mentioned earlier around government and audit trail, being able to audit trail everything that's happening, whether the user's logging in, whether they're going in, and everything's time date stamped. So by taking all that data during the training process, you can actually see who's getting it and who's not just by looking at the data. One of the future things that I think would be great for us to consider would be to leverage this machine learning capability to push it right into the face of the trainer and say, hey, you've got some people here that maybe need some more training than the others. And those are all things that are certainly possible.
That's awesome, and a really good forecast to lead us into the next segment. We just keep on rolling here.
Well, thanks for all those questions. I mean, if you're curious about the inventory platform and this inventory management capability, I'd check out our knowledge base on our site. It's free, and it's got an extensible list of all the features, optimizations, and updates that we have out there.
Yeah, and we're always looking to add to it with every single new update that comes out with the inventory platform. There's always something in there for anyone that wants to get into the nitty gritty and really know why the inventory platform works and who it works for.
Yeah, and that's a good segment. The topic for today is, again, how your fulfillment strategies are going to change, and luckily it's for the better. One of the things that we've been recently shipping out is our advanced picking logic, and we've got a separate segment we're going to go through a little bit later on, but those things coupled with the Microsoft order management, which, if you've been outside of the four walls of your cave you live in,
or of your house even.
right, which for me is a cave. I mean, I don't live in a cave, but it's really the farthest leap towards optimizations that I've ever seen in the industry, and frankly, very good for us in helping us to fulfill our vision of where inventory management goes. And it takes AI and machine learning to another level, and it really plugs it right into a system like ours that allows us to give our customers a competitive ability against big box store.
Mm-hmm. So we always talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the inventory truth. That's
Inventory
what we're
truth,
in search
baby.
of. That's the name of the pod.
We all need truth in our lives, don't we?
Yeah.
And to
Some
help us,
truths more than others. Don't tell me about my haircut or my goatee on the podcast.
But you've laid out a game plan to help us to talk about what we're doing here.
Yeah. So basically, the idea of the pod is we're looking to show everyone how a few things come together. One, it's the intelligent order management system coupled with the AI and machine learning. And on top of that, it's connecting that back into the inventory platform, all the operations. I think we just added something around 30 new functions, operations that we're able to use, and bringing that together to make a system that helps make inventory management more manageable.
So to recap on advanced picking, I mean, all these changes we've been making is very interesting to read on our knowledge base, and we'll include a link here in this podcast so you can get directly into the meat and potatoes in a really fun little video we put together that highlights the key options that you have in front of you. In terms of artificial intelligence, we talked about a little bit already, and to get a little bit more into that, I mean, it's a concept everyone's heard of, and you think of the Terminator, which the Terminator is probably not what we're describing here as an AI solution.
It's a great jumping off point and a fantastic movie.
But machine learning is an important aspect of what's changing right now throughout many parts of really the economy and society, and I'm sure everyone's heard a lot about it. When it comes to the inventory platform piece, and in particular this IOM that Microsoft is launching, the two go together like peanut butter and jelly in the sense that you have these rules that are triggered off of certain events, and those events are what I would call a little bit gray. In other words, you don't have a massive rules engine telling you that if an order gets to be this size, if equals greater than 20, do X. That's simple. Those are rules. AI is more like, given all the data and the historical data that it trains from and it gets training from, we want to be able to say, hey, there's a huge order here. And so those kind of insights come up and bubble through the machine learning, and they can be acted on by driving changes in the picking logic in the system, or it might even be used for adding more staff temporarily to increase your workload to be able to fulfill again on that promise date. That's the number one thing that people are looking to get is what are you going to promise me you're going to do in terms of order fulfillment? And if you can't live up to those promises, very few people have the kind of patience to continue buying from you. So this kind of tool helps you with that. Now, machine learning is really just the start of it. There's even pieces of AI in self-driving cars, and that's another aspect of machine learning.
Yeah, it's much like executive at your favorite software company.
Right.
Gets better with age.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because it's learning. It's every time it
but
continues to get better.
What I do know, Matt, is that I don't know. That's really what you know. But in terms of AI, again, it's very exciting, and it's definitely a main focus for the inventory platform. And it's a seamless connection that we're building for our offering that we're coming out with this summer. And I think I mentioned in the last podcast, we are going to be leveraging that to really make it available for our customers in the future. And it's a very exciting part.
Well, Travis, I think it would be helpful for everyone, and especially the low attention span side of the marketing world like myself, if we got into a couple more interesting examples.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's put it into the real world, shall we?
Yeah.
So the first one I had, I really wanted to pick an MLB team that we could talk about. But at the same time, that means I isolate 29 other teams and their fans. So what I did was I put together a clip that is actually all of the MLB teams in 13 seconds.
Diamondbacks, Braves, Orioles, Red Sox, Cubs, White Sox, Reds, Indians, Rockies, Tigers, Astros, Royals, Angels, Dodgers, Marlins, Brewers, Twins, Mets, Yankees, Athletics, Phillies, Pirates, Padres, Giants, Mariners, Cardinals, Rays, Rangers, Jays,
Thanks for letting me do this. But let's assume that we're working for maybe not just a team, but like Fanatics, one of the biggest sellers of gear for these teams.
I've toured Fanatics before, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it gigantic?
It was cool.
I mean, the sheer amount of Adrian Peterson jerseys alone that have to be stored because he keeps changing teams.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's a closet maybe somewhere.
Yeah, a big closet. Anyways, aside from number 28, I think you had a great example that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, so picking goals. With the Fanatics, if you've got a team that is about to win the World Series, it might be time to jack up production. So that's an example where your picking goals are changing in real time. You might have a scenario where you've got a key customer, and that happens to be your World Series winner.
It's probably going to be the Yankees.
And they need that stuff right away. It's not enough inventory. And so you're reviewing order reservations you have against other teams, and you have to look at potentially shorting or delaying fulfillment of some of those other things. Maybe it's T-shirts, maybe it's shirts. Well, you've got to put that stuff aside, but you don't want to do it and take a lot of your time to figure this stuff out. So that's again where that machine learning and looking at that low inventory, you can maybe postpone or put on hold certain orders, wait for those shipments to come in, assuming you've got a promise date of that material coming in, and now you can be very confident you can still fulfill those high volume needs today with the material you have in house, and yet be able to still fulfill on the promises of your other teams that maybe aren't so lucky.
And also not burning out your staff.
Right.
If machine learning, if the AI is helping you pick what stuff needs to go where, then you don't have to do it manually every time.
Right. And for any of you Star Trek fans, that might be called the Borg.
Yeah. Wow. Deep cut reference.
The Borg is probably pretty good at picking orders, I would have to say.
I would bet it's also pretty good at picking hosts.
Anyway, with a system that's inherently good at machine learning capabilities, and especially in this IOM package that Microsoft's coming out with, you can short or delay fulfillment in real time. It's really nice stuff.
Okay.
What's another example you got?
Well, I kind of wanted to pander with you a little bit here.
Pander? I don't even know what that word means.
Yeah, it's a $10 word that you learn in college. That's sucking up.
Maybe my kids pander to me. I don't know.
I just took a guess here, and I was thinking maybe you might be a Scotch guy.
I do like Scotch on occasion, but I like lots of things, including fruity drinks like Mai Tais and But anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah, Mai Tai's great.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're talking. Let's zoom out a little bit on New York City and Glenlivet, one of the most popular scotches. Right, their 12 years sipped by a lot of people. So May 12th, New York is opening up, and one of the most popular Scotch brands in that state is probably going to be running a little short on 12-year.
Right.
So what are some situations where AI machine learning could help you out?
Yeah, good question. I think another technology that becomes very valuable is what we call wave sets. But wave sets have been around a long time, and usually they have very hardened rules around how to make wave sets. In this case, a wave set combining all of those individual orders that have either the same or like delivery dates can all be done in one shot. And that's nice because, then days later you slam the full pallet orders that require forklift operators to act quickly. That anomaly that came in can be, say, put this stuff on hold until this wave set can be done. And again, that comes naturally to the Borg. Those people, they know how to do it automatically, probably if they're all wired up and connected. They know what to do. But that's beside the point, obviously.
Yeah, it's about AI knows how to do this, and your system can train itself to make optimizations for you.
Maybe the Borg is behind this machine learning, when it comes to...
Maybe the Borg is the biggest sponsor of this podcast. We don't tell you. You don't know.
These massive orders that go out the door, you can systematically, return them back to normal course of picking once those wave sets are out the door. And, that's all made possible through this kind of technology. So... the other goal that is, controlling those configurations, AI can drive those things and make them happen behind the scenes based directly on those anomalies that are driven by machine learning. Well, folks,
it's been fun.
It's been really fun, and I hope you've enjoyed spending some time with us and learning something as well. Check out our redesigned website. I mentioned it before last time, and feel free to email, message, or call us at WithoutWire. And remember to always be in search of that inventory truth. Thank you and good night.
WithoutWire is a cloud-based inventory management service that brings science to barcode scanning for field techs, manufacturers, or warehouse pickers. Within minutes, you can set up your own personalized environment. With our embedded Microsoft Power BI and SQL reporting services, you'll get live views of your activity from nearly any device and form factor including iOS or Android-based smartphones, tablets, and rugged purpose-built scanning devices. WithoutWire. Inventory management solutions without equal.